Think of your spiritual life like standing in the middle of a desert storm. The sand doesn't knock you over all at once. It's a constant, relentless friction, blowing against you grain by grain, slowly eroding your footing to sweep you away from God's will. Nearly 2,000 years ago, the Apostle Paul watched early Christians face this exact same pressure. Sitting under house arrest in a Roman prison, he drafted an urgent letter to a young church in the city of Colossae to address this specific struggle. Before Paul lists specific cultural dangers to avoid, he establishes a baseline for spiritual survival. He offers a specific posture to keep a believer's feet securely planted in the sand. Paul drafted these warnings onto rough, fibrous sheets of papyrus. These were physical documents meant for hand delivery across the Roman Empire by a network of trusted friends. Scattered throughout Paul's writings, including his letter to the Thessalonians, we find a foundational anchor. In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God. Notice he says in everything, not for everything. Gratitude acts as a vital tactical posture. By searching for God's grace in the middle of a storm, the heart builds resistance against the erosion of cynicism and worldly anxiety. This brings us to a man named Epaphras. Plantus was famous for wrestling in fervent, persistent prayer for his community. His specific request focused on the long-term health of the believers. He prayed that the Colossians would stand perfect and complete in all the will of God. In the original Greek, that word perfect is teleios. Rather than a state of flawless sinlessness, it refers to spiritual maturity or completeness. Paul defines this maturity as a Christlike character, one that is, in his words, knit together in love. This shift towards sacrificial love creates the structural integrity needed to withstand external pressure. Spiritual maturity is the result of active, intentional labor. It is a developed state achieved through daily routines, like the prayers Epaphras modeled. But not everyone in Paul's circle maintained that structural integrity. Left unguarded, even the most promising structures can collapse. Consider Demas. In Paul's earlier letters, Demas is listed right alongside Luke. He was an active, trusted member of the apostles' inner missionary team, traveling the Mediterranean to spread the gospel. Yet, by the time Paul writes his final letter to Timothy, the tone shifts. He writes a painful update: Demas has forsaken me. The text provides a specific reason for this fall. Demas fell in love with this present world. He looked at the wealth, the status, and the immediate secular distractions of the Roman age and prioritized them over his mission. While Epaphras fixed his eyes on the eternal kingdom, agonizing in prayer for the church, Demas allowed his affections to be captured by the present. The trap of materialism works through a quiet, subtle erosion of priorities. Demas likely drifted through 1,000 small compromises before his final departure. Every day you stand in that same tension. You live caught between the quiet discipline of Epaphras and the allure of the present age that pulled Demas away. To maintain your footing, Paul points toward his broader network of co-workers, people like Tychicus, Luke the physician, and Mark. They traveled together, carried each other's burdens, and provided accountability. Standing firm against a secular culture requires the support and connectivity of a Christian community. A networked church acts as a windbreak against the relentless erosion of the world. Beyond community support, personal defense relies on a daily practice to keep your affections from drifting. Jesus provided a highly concentrated set of instructions for maintaining spiritual readiness in a distracted age. He commanded his followers to take heed, watch, and pray. Standing firm in the will of God is a collaborative, lifelong journey, sustained by the constant habit of vigilant prayer.